Hi everyone, how we doing today? I got on a minute early to say hi to you all. If you're on, go ahead and say hello. Tell me where you're from. Tell me how your week's going. I know it's been a little hectic, but I want to check in with you all, see what's going on for weekly Wednesday wisdom. Okay. Hi guys, how we doing? Awesome. Thanks for joining in. All right, we are going to dive in today. It is going to be a fun one. I want, again, if this is your first time attending one of my lives, I want you to know that we do this every Wednesday morning, and we discuss such a wide variety of topics that relate to conquering your career and your life. Everything from resume tips to LinkedIn stuff to mindset shifts and health and wellness, because it's all so incredibly important and our lives intertwine, right? So again, as you're coming on, why don't you join in and tell us where you're from, what's going on this week. Hi, Tony. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And if you're on Facebook, make sure that you go ahead and sign in and let the StreamYard know so that we can see you and your name, because usually on Facebook, it doesn't let you see your name, it just says user. So I want to be able to recognize you. So this week has been a lot of ups and downs. I know I got to spend a nice long weekend to myself and rejuvenate personally and professionally last weekend. And then our neighbor, literally right behind us, went into labor with her fourth child. And the other three were, no joke, on our doorstep late Saturday night. And they should be going home either today or tomorrow. So yes, there's now 6 kids at our home under the age of 10. And it's been nothing but chaotic and rewarding all in the same way. Such a challenge in every way imaginable. Patience, kindness, love, lots of eating and more eating and cleaning and fighting, but so much love and fun and excitement too. So it fills my heart up. And at the same time, I'm like, I need peace and quiet. So yes, hi Tracy, how you doing? So it's been so much fun. To say the least here. So I've locked myself in a room here so I can serve you guys. And, something I've been actually reflecting on the last few days here is, I think so many of us this year in 2020, right, we've gotten caught up in all the things, right? Not to downplay any of them in any way, but we've got caught up in COVID. We've got caught up in the news and all these different things. And, us having the 3 kids literally dropped off at our doorstep with no instructions whatsoever, and being able to serve them, it's too many of us are not looking to what's going on in our communities, like literally right next door. And this was even prior to the pandemic, guys. And why am I telling you all this, guys? Because not to feel sorry for me in any way, shape, or form, please. I don't want the emails. I don't want the comments about that, okay? The reason I'm telling you this is to challenge you, first of all. But second of all, because as we're going to be discussing today, I regularly get asked about my rituals. They're like, how do you do it all? And that's just with my 3 kids and my health conditions and the businesses that I run, and my husband having his conditions as well. So today I want us to discuss habits, okay, and rituals. Not 100% career related, right, and job search related, but 100% related, right? So I want you to know that your habits are here to work for you. But sometimes that doesn't seem the right way, right? Changes in your family or job or situations, just like it happened in our week, those once helpful habits and routines seem almost impossible, right? So if you think about it, we all have such a variety of stages of life. Okay. And I'm here to help you with that in terms of redefining your search in your specific stage of life. Okay. I know many of you guys are thinking, you're like, how does this get adapted to people who don't have as much control over their time? Like, if I can't be Vanessa McConkey or whoever else who has, looks like they have their stuff together, is that okay? Can I still make a difference in my habits and routines? Absolutely, guys. And as always, I want to make sure that I'm sharing my personal stories because I'm not superhuman, okay? I have 3 kids and a very busy life, and there's times I get knocked down too. So I want to make sure that you know that you're not alone, okay? And I want you also to know, yes, I did write a book with Forbes back in September on basically how to work from home and how to plan and how to organize. And I want to be real with all of you that things don't always go according to plan. And I know that's hard for some of you out there who have the same personality as myself. It's like, I have to have everything organized. I have to do things by a certain time. I have to check all the things off my list. Okay. Sometimes life is a mess, guys. Sometimes the laundry pile and the dishes can stay there. Okay. They're not nothing, no one's going to die, right? Sometimes, the work stuff, there's always going to be an email you're not going to be able to answer. There's always going to be a job you're not going to be able to apply to. Okay. So we're going to talk about some of that today, as well as my history with habits and what it's looked like over time, because life for me hasn't always been so peachy. Okay. Just like it hasn't been for a lot of you guys. Okay. So let's start with a confession. Okay, it's hard. The reality, guys, of who I am versus maybe people's perception. And I think a lot of this has to do with all the social media as well, right? We always like to put all the pretties out there. Okay. It's not always pretties, right? It's not. Okay. So the confession, right, there's this perception that I'm this highly focused, very disciplined, almost like robotic character. I've actually had some close friends say that to me, like my husband as well. Like, you're very robotic, like, whew, relax, right? And that's not the truth. I'm here confessing it in front of, God, and everyone here is listening, that I'm not that person. Okay. I struggle so hard with focus and distractions. I mean, guys, I got 6 kids running around in here, 3 of them trying to do school, the other one's doing God knows what. Honestly, right? I have large periods of time where I'm not really productive. Does it irk me? Yeah. Okay. It does. It happened this week. I tried to be realistic with everyone here and having just one thing on my to-do list, just one. And I found thousands of reasons why I wasn't going to do it, right? Because, right, there's been a time where all the kids were actually quiet and focused. And I was like, oh, I should get that one thing done. Yeah, no. Right. So I struggle with all this stuff too, guys. Okay. This is why I write about it. This is why I talk about it. This is why, right, I've got my book. This is why I've got the podcast. This is why I do these lives, guys. So I'm mostly preaching to myself, hoping that maybe some other people struggle with this stuff as well. So if you struggle with it, the focus, the productivity, I want raise your hand, comments on here, because I want other people, not just myself, to know that there's others out there that have this as well, okay, that deal with this, okay? No one is superhuman. I've been called supermom, and I honestly hate it. I really, really do. I hate it. Now, do I get an enormous amount of work done? Absolutely, I do, okay? Absolutely, and it's not because I don't struggle, okay? It's not because it comes easily to me. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I stumble and I fall. God, so many times I fail on my habits and routines. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, here's the thing, is every day is a new day to start over, okay? There's new mercies every morning. So if my workout routine has kind of failed me the last few days of the previous week, great. The next day is a new day to jumpstart that and get it going again, okay? I felt the need to say that a lot of this stuff because, honestly, I was pretty self-unaware, right? I know we've talked about that over the last few weeks, being self-aware. I was pretty self-unaware of that in the past, okay? I kind of felt like whatever I was experiencing, I could just kind of put it out there and share it with the world and people, and everyone just kind of adjust. But no, guys, here's the thing, okay? I think by sharing that without a disclaimer, right, that it kind of puts people in a position where they feel guilty or they feel like they're failing all the time. That's opposite of what I want you guys to get out of this, okay? So what I want you to know today is that whatever season of life you're in, okay, some of us have young kids, some of us have no kids, some of us are just graduated college, some of us have kids who are out of the house, okay? Some of us have gone through divorces, some have gone through job losses, some of us have had just things happen, been super sick or whatever it is, okay? But figure out what you can change. And it's usually the small things, right? Those are things that had to be considered when you're thinking about habits, okay? Otherwise, you can become kind of I hate to say this, but like a tyrant in your own life. Think about that. It's kind of crazy, right? You're a tyrant in your own life, where you expect everybody in your life to make your habits possible, guys. And that's so unrealistic for any season of life that you're in, specifically the one now, right? I've heard it from folks over the last year here, and from time to time, even before that too, right? That they expect like their spouse to make it possible to have those extreme habits that are more appropriate to a season of life when there are no young children, for example, or things are just different, right? Or you totally just give up and like, man, unless I'm at a place where I have total control over my time and I have several hours in the morning or whatever, then this whole habit thing just not relevant. I've done that before. Shoot, I did it a couple weeks ago. I was like, I need to have 4 hours every morning silence. No one bother me. Guys, that's unrealistic I got 3 young kids. That's unrealistic. And a husband that works from home, completely unrealistic, unless I'm getting up at 2 a.m., right? Unrealistic. And I'm not to say that either one of those are like true or necessary. You can absolutely have those habits. Yes, you can, if they're realistic for your season of life. Okay. You have to be consistent with those habits too. Then you can get all the benefits from them without being perfect. Who out there is a perfectionist or wants to be striving, right? Okay. Here's something that I want you to consider too. Yeah, here, Tony. I found it tough to focus and follow a routine when being unemployed. Yeah, it's simply the loss of the normal everyday routine, going to the office, attending meetings, collaborating with others. And you know what? Here, I'll stop and pause and address this, Tony, is that when you're in this kind of season in your life, you still need to have a plan. You just need to adjust. Still schedule out your day. Schedule in the fun things, the relaxing things for yourself, for that self-care. On top of it, schedule in the things that you need to do for your job search. You're talking to people, you're updating resumes, you're looking at jobs, you're learning something new. A lot of times we're just so in the rut of the job search, like I got to do my resume, I got to do LinkedIn, I got to be looking at jobs, that we're not learning new things and stretching our brain. Okay. And stretching our body. Shoot, go out for a walk, right? All those different things. So if you set those routines in place, it's going to help so much. Okay. So much. So I want you to think about this really quick. This came up in my little reflection this week too. Think about all of our first responders and the folks in the medical profession this year who have been dealing with COVID for months and months and months and months, who are in emergency every day. That's a unique challenge to develop any kind of habits, and something most of us can't do. Think about them. They are being thrown into the fire every single day, and they're having to develop habits and routines that are saving other people's lives and keeping them sane. Okay. So if you're a first responder or you're in a medical profession right now dealing with all that, thank you. And I just want to wrap my hands around you and just hug you, right? I mean, that is a life change for them. Okay. And all of their habits in their life have to be changed. All of them. Okay. Think about when you're doing this job search, like Tony, right? You have the opportunity to really create your day and create all these amazing habits. They're getting thrown in the fire every day. Okay. So what are some of the big life transitions people experience and that they should prompt a reconsideration of your habits and routines? Well, I'd say any major life change, right? Think about when you're in college, you get your first job. I can remember thinking in college, guys, like, I'm never going to be any busier than I am. I mean, I had 20 plus credit hours. I was working, job almost every day of the week. I was in all these committees and things like that. I was traveling back and forth to home from Southern Illinois to Chicago. I was like, I will never be busier than I am right now. I'm going to slow down when I get a job. Yeah, right. Post-college, guys, college looked like a vacation, right? But once you start, then you've got marriage, right? And then I had a great job, and, Matt and I were there and we're doing everything. We didn't have a lot of demands in our lives. We felt like we had a ton of extra money. It was amazing. We had time to pursue our habits, right? I was a huge reader, guys, from college, before college, all the way through, until our first child. I was reading like a book a week. I mean, ridiculous, right? We had all these habits, and then we had our first son, and having kids just changed everything. It was a major turning point, right? And then we got 3, and that's between the difference between having 2 kids, guys, and 3. Any of you guys know this who've been through this? And then when the kids moved into various stages of like school, having like one kid in school, that was like, sigh of relief. And then COVID hit, right? So anyways, guys, all I'm saying is that these major life changes, and we could catalog them, right? We can just keep going and going and going, right? They're an opportunity to rethink our rituals and ask ourselves, is this a habit? Is this habit I was doing up until this point really appropriate for this season of life? Is, for example, when I took a sabbatical from my last corporate job, I was working out like 1 to 2 hours a day, going to like hot yoga in the morning, doing all this stuff. Now, if I took that and transferred that into my next season of life, that set of habits, I'm not going to cut it, right? For example, we also have Okay, this may not be relevant to you much right now, but if you have a job, like all of a sudden you're traveling for a season, right? Maybe you're starting a new division at a company or another satellite location, or you're implementing a new process somewhere, right? Okay, well, all of a sudden, if you think about it, you're traveling, you're living out of a hotel and you're commuting on the weekends, and that's going to change your habits, right? You may be accustomed to being at home all the time. It's not going to work the same as when you're home 7 days a week. Totally different, right? That's kind of we're talking about here, okay? Or for example, when you're kids, they start playing sports in the evenings, right? And you're used to all sitting down having family dinner, calming down, and now you're like, go, 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 go. Or let's say your kids go from elementary school and starting school at 8:15, 8:30, and now they're going into middle school and they're starting at 7:30. Everything gets shifted, right? Those mornings are like, oh, okay, everything's got to change now, right? Those kind of little things, right? That's just like little hour change. But if you don't take that into account, if you're not aware of that, so you're like, nope, I'm sticking to my habits, and you don't readjust, then guess what? You're gonna fall out of the workability of those things and you're just gonna crash. I mean, how many have been there? I've been there for sure. It is whoa, right? Okay. It's a big reason why 4 times a year at a minimum, so every quarter I review my rituals. I actually write them down. I have a full focus planner. I write them down and I say, okay, what are my rituals? What do I expect a typical morning ritual to look like? My workday ritual, my evening ritual to look like? And I ask myself, I'm like, okay, is there a habit that I picked that I stopped, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, and then I picked it back up? Do I need to change something? Right? I think a lot about like exercise and diet because it just affects our bodies, it affects our minds and everything like that. Especially like think about this, when you go from, if any of you go from being single to being married to having no kids to having kids, your focus went from all these areas of self-care and habits to just trying to get through and function, right? And that's a tough thing. And then you finally get the kids back into school or something, and you're like, okay, now I get some time. Now what do I do, right? That's kind of like the job search, like Tony was saying, like, you're like, now I have all this time. How do I organize my day? And that's another season of life, okay? Or when you take on a new role at work, right? Think about this. Maybe you were like an engineer and you had an individual contributor role, okay? And then all you had to worry about was yourself. Maybe some team meetings that your boss held, anything like that. You could pretty much shut off the day when you go home, right? Okay. Then you get promoted to being a boss. Then you have other people you're responsible for, other activities, and a lot more planning. And it leads to a lot fewer hard edges on your day, if you know what I mean. Okay. So does that make sense, guys? Okay. So another question that I really want to ask you, and I want you to consider, and let me know if you want any of these questions too as we're moving forward. Just comment below. What did your rituals, particularly like your morning routine, because that really gets our day going and starts our day off, right? What did it look like in your mid to late 20s? Right, for me, it was like wake up at 5 a.m., do my devotions, read 15 to 20 minutes of a good book, maybe read the newspaper, kind of get some idea of the news so I can have a conversation at work, get my workout on, shower, get ready, breakfast, almost never really rushing out the door, except when I fell into the trap that a lot of people fall into. They think, oh, well, today, I can do it for an hour. All right, I'm going to do an hour workout. So I'm going to make this a goal, when the situation is ideal and the circumstances are perfect. I've had a really good full night's sleep. I got nothing early on the agenda. And no, that's not how you need to set a habit like this, guys. You need to ask yourself is, what is a sustainable amount of time that I can spend when I don't have an optimal circumstance? Okay, I'm going to say that again. What for each of your habits in your morning ritual, because we're talking about morning ones, what is a sustainable amount of time that I can spend when I don't have optimal circumstances? Okay, because there's going to be nights we have restless nights. We're going to have kids, have situations, wake up. We're going to we might sleep in. I was talking to a friend last week and he's like, shoot, and I was like, I slept in, right? I've literally had people tell me this too, and this makes me kind of sick to my stomach, to be honest with you. And if this is you, check yourself. Oh, just set the bar so low that you can kind of step over it. Even when the baby was up all night, when the babysitter couldn't show up, when that project is due that morning for work, when you have a trip. Guys, no. Really ask yourself the question, like, what can I reasonably do almost every day, no matter what. Then start there. Okay, then you can start dialing it up, right? Just a little notch, right? Notch, 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 right? Like on the radio when you're trying to, I don't know if it's the kids didn't, a lot of the younger kids didn't have to kind of dial in on the radio. They had the digital stuff, right? We did kind of like dial in until you found that you set the bar too low. But if you set it too high, right, then you get discouraged and you throw in the towel. So I rather have you set a timer for like 5 minutes if you're doing like some meditation or something, whatever that activity is, 5 minutes, and then set it for 12 minutes, and then set it for 10 minutes, and then 12 minutes, right? And then 15 minutes, right? Keep inching it up, okay? Whatever the most essential part of your morning ritual is, those habits that you really don't want to live without, like for me, it's my workout, then you can tweak it up. Like there's some days, like this morning, I knew typically I'm doing about a 45-minute workout, but I knew I had some things going on this morning that I just needed to dial it down, okay? Because if I added things on top of that, if I'm like, oh, no, I usually do a 40-minute one. I can do this. No, don't set yourself up to fail, assuming that everything's going to align, right? It'll be amazing. It'll happen over and over again because it won't, okay? When I'm talking to my coaching clients, guys, you guys are all high achievers. You guys are all such incredibly high achievers. I love it, okay? Love it. But 9 times out of 10, I have to get them back down from the habit goal they set because it's way too ambitious. Okay, I don't want you guys to fail, but I don't want you guys to make it so easy with your habits that it's easy, right? Okay, what you guys have forgotten, and sometimes I forget too, is the metaphor of like compound interest, right? That's how you save a lot of money, right? Put a penny in, put $10 in, right? Every month, and you start early, right? And then you get to the end of your life and you're like, oh, wow, that's nice, right? So the same thing with your job search, same thing with your exercise, your diet, right? Any kind of habit that's going to change your life, right? Like exercise. It's not all, it's not getting all excited and going to the gym and having a 2-hour workout session for 5 days and then not doing it again for 90 days. No, it's going there. It's turning on your TV. It's grabbing the weights. It's going outside for a walk for 30 minutes a day, doing it consistently. And then you start to see the results, right? No, you're not going to get a six-pack. And guys, most of us are not fitness competitors. Sorry to say it. You're not going to get a six-pack. But, leave that to the people who get professionally paid to be on magazines and have the airbrushing, okay? For the rest of us, just that minimum effective dose to get our bodies moving, our blood pumping, especially in winter now in some of those cooler states, guys, get that blood moving, get that mind flowing, right? Because the world needs our mind, okay? There's real power in incremental change, okay? If any of you guys have read The Slight Edge, it's an old book. Slight Edge, guys, little things at a time, compound interest, okay? Some people are always wondering how what I just said fits into my whole philosophy that your goals need to be risky. Yeah, they do, okay? Adding habits is necessary if you're going to check the box, if you're not going to be in your comfort zone. How many of you are sitting in your comfort zone right now? You're just kind of doing the thing, not really pushing yourself. Yeah, Tony, never set the bar low, right? It yields low expectations. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely. And I think we all have at some point in our life. Nothing wrong with that, but let's learn from it, right? Okay. So, comfort zone. Now, if you're like, I got it. I got all the basic habits. I'm wondering if I could dial it up or even get to a higher level of performance for myself. Maybe I'm going to hire a trainer, right? If we were talking about working out, I'm going to train for some kind of serious athletic event as a part of my exercise. Awesome. Go do it, please. If you're going to really amp up like your career, your job search, right? Hire a coach, get out there, do it, dial up the risk into your daily habits, right? But for a lot of us, just installing the basic habits, the small little increments every single day, that puts us outside our comfort zone. And guys, Jesus, my son's screaming. He's out of his comfort zone. It puts us outside our comfort zone. That's where we grow. We don't grow in our little bubbles. Just like I was talking about earlier, we don't grow just kind of inside of our homes, not, reaching out to the communities around us. We grow by being out of our comfort zones. And no joke, this week, I've been out of my comfort zone, having additional kids ask me questions all day long, being literally up my butt, all that type of stuff. But learning how to breathe patience, how to breathe love into them and kindness and all that type of stuff. It's so important. Here's the thing, guys. Things are scary to start. But what if you could use a habit as a goal, right? A habit goal as a major way to get you to, as we hear toys going down the hallway there, toys, that habit goal to get you to that major achievement goal. While achievement still needs to be a part of it, you got to be in that discomfort zone, guys, and that is risk. Okay? If I decide I've done this before, I wanted to run a half marathon, that's risky, right? I was a runner for many years and I damaged a lot of my knees and my feet and stuff like that. But if I decided I was going to go out, just start running a half marathon, like my husband wants to do this, I'm like, no, you got to do a 5K first, then go into a 10K, and then you can go into it, right? Like I can get out and still probably run a 5K because I've put in the work. I put in the habits consistently, okay? Probably shouldn't get out there and say, I'm going to go run a marathon, right? But if I back it up a little bit, I can dial it down a little bit and I can aim for a half marathon, right? Make sense? Okay. So, and if you guys want to run marathons, go for it, but you stick to a plan, right? I mean, when I was training for the half marathon, it didn't kill me. I didn't think about dying. I did think about quitting, but I didn't think I was going to die. I made it every step of the way, just like you guys are going to do in the job search, right? Because every step along the way is a preparation to achieve that very risky goal that was manageable. Okay? That's how you need to think about your habits. Again, right? Compound interest. I don't know what any of the figures are, but like if you're in your 20s and you start saving $100 a month, by the time you get to retirement age, that's a lot of money, right? And you guys got to do this in your job search, right? If you dive in head on fast as you can, right? Without stepping back and like really understanding each step and what the little baby steps are to do that you need to consistently do every day, you're going to fail. Okay? You're going to fail. And it's going to be months and months and months of you being frustrated and worn out and burnt out, and your health is going to deteriorate and all this stuff because you're not setting yourself up for success. Okay? It's all about understanding who you are and what your habits and your rituals are. Does that make sense, guys? Okay? Yeah. And Ben, you're right. It's all about the mindset and, having a burning desire, to achieve daily and weekly, monthly, yearly goals, right? I mean, I'm not saying you're going to achieve every single one of them, but we got to try. We got to aim for something. You got to motivate yourself each and every day. Ben, you are absolutely right. Yes, Tony. Go, Ben, right? You're going to have obstacles, guys. Things are going to happen. For me, kids got dropped in, but it's been a blessing, right? So how often should you evaluate your goals and your habits? Let's talk about habits, reevaluate your habits. Now, I'm really big on evaluating habits and setting big goals. And I believe they all should be in a form of your personality, okay? Just based on my experience, that you should reevaluate your morning, evening, and ritual ones every quarter, like I said, right? And when you start to realize that your habits, guys, aren't working, if it's said like 90% of the time will say, you're being consistent, and all of a sudden man, I'm only at like 50% with this habit. It wasn't just a week. It was like 4 weeks in a row, or I'm at like 20%, or I just completely fell off the wagon completely. Guys, that is an indication right there that you need to reevaluate your habits, because it's possible that what happened is you had some kind of life change. You had a season change, right? And you didn't take time to connect the dots. That's why I'm big on like journaling every day, right? Kind of seeing what's going on in your life, seeing those little habits and little things that happen, okay? So, right, you got a new job, or you lost a job. You had a baby that was born. You had new responsibilities in another area of life. You suddenly had to take care of an elderly person, or like in my situation, some kids, right? You had an illness. All of these kind of situations have to be factored in. If all of a sudden you notice like you're dramatically less consistent than you've ever been, take a second and ask yourself, be like, hey, what's changed? Do I need to make some adjustments? Like, what do those adjustments need to be? Like, when in doubt, just lower the bar a little bit. If you're struggling to be consistent, just lower the bar, and then you can start raising it with what you're successful at. Okay, so here's a big takeaway today. Don't be afraid to quit on a habit that's no longer serving you. Okay, like I said, I was a runner and I ran every day, sometimes twice a day, because I wanted to be better. But when I started getting stress fractures in my feet, that led to more serious injuries. But my habit was to keep running every morning. That's what I do. I've been doing it for years. I got to run. And you know what? I finally had to reevaluate. Like, I don't think this habit's working anymore. It's not going to serve me. Like, all these injuries and going to the doctor, it's not serving me. So I had to just suck it up and say, stop running, Vanessa. There's other ways to be active and challenge your body. Okay. Or maybe there's something you want to do with your friends and you want to prioritize things. Your marriage is good, everything, but you want to prioritize friends now. So, right, you have to be flexible with your season of life. Okay. Just because something was the right solution in one decade or many decades doesn't mean that it has to continue forever. Okay. So, all right, we better wrap up here. I want to make sure I'm respecting your time. So in summary, the thing I want you to do most, guys, is give yourself permission to choose the habits in your season of life. Yours, not anyone else's, yours, that best serve you, okay? You have to be the judge of that. You can't judge your habits by mine or anyone else's who are in different seasons of life, okay? Their circumstances are unique to them. I want you to feel joy in these habits, okay? Joy. I get that they work, but you have to have joy with them, okay? Once you get into that automatic pilot and you no longer have to think about them, they're part of muscle memory, that's joy. And that's the kind of habits you want to have, okay? So if you're watching this live and you're thinking like, I need more input like this as I'm thinking about my habits, how can I optimize them? How can I be more consistent with habits, for my job search, in my career, in my personal life? I want you guys to join in on my LinkedIn group and my Facebook group, either or both. I have a serious set of rock stars in there and plans that we work on creating together that are going to positively impact not only your career and job search, but your routines and your life. Okay? For long term. That's important, okay? I want you to be in the community that you really need, okay? We want you to have our best thinking on these topics, okay? And many, many more. So I want you to stay tuned for something big happening the first week of 2021. So get in those groups because that's the only place I'm going to be announcing that stuff. Message me, comment on the video for the links to join. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today on this conversation. I really enjoyed it. It's something I totally love talking about. So if you have questions about habits, routines, and how we can help implement them in your life, thank you. Yes, you're welcome, Daphne. You're welcome. I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. And as always, you can always reach out to me here on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and we can have conversations. All right.